What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for tuning in. It's me, Mikey Pipes, and this morning we're heading to Wantagh, New York. We have to replace an internal condensate pan on a Rheem air handler located inside an attic. Now, I don't recall if they got OSHA approved plywood so I can work on this thing or not, so hopefully I don't fall through the ceiling. But I'm going to show you step by step the professional way of recovering the charge, cutting out the evaporator coil, sliding out the evaporator, and then reassembling it step by step after replacing that internal pan that's cracked. It's leaking, destroying the bottom of the metal of the cabinet. It's a horizontal installation, so that insulation soaked up all that condensate like a sponge. So you know it's not gonna be nice and pretty inside there. Let's head over to Wantagh and show you how we get it done. All right, one of the first things I got to do is make sure there's no refrigerant in the line set and the evaporator coil that's located in the attic. Now, I'm going to be using a recovery machine, a scale, and a recovery tank. But before I do that, I'm going to make my job a little bit easier. We're going to see if we can suck down the refrigerant into the condenser by closing our liquid line. Okay, and we're gonna let the compressor suck in the refrigerant once this is closed. So that's closed. Okay, let's make sure this is ready. We'll take a look at our pressure right there. And we are slowly dropping on the high side. We want to see if we can get that down as low as possible. Okay, and once I get that low as possible, I'm going to kill power at my disconnect. All right, look at that, 23, 19, 10, 6. Okay, let's start closing. We're already in a negative pressure here. Close that up. Now, you can't always get away with doing this. Come on, baby. There we go. So now we've successfully sucked all the refrigerant into the condenser. So now this entire charge of 201 ounces plus maybe a couple more pounds or a pound or two for the distance between the indoor evaporator and the outdoor condenser is now all inside this condensing unit. All right, so now that all the refrigerant is basically recovered inside the condensing unit and it's 7:35, I just saved myself probably a good solid hour in recovering with my recovery machine, the recovery tank, all that nonsense. Now, a lot of times you won't be able to do that because some compressors have an internal bypass and it won't get below maybe 60, 70, or even 100 PSI without like bypassing internally, and you're not gonna be able to suck the refrigerant back to the condensing coil. Just keep that in mind. I wouldn't try this on older systems, like from the 70s and 80s. You never know, right? You're the last one there, and you broke it. It's on you now. But understand that back in the days, this is how the HVAC guys pump down a system, by dumping it into the condensing coil. And all I did was use a 3/16 with the 5/16 service wrench with the little adapter piece. I'll put a link in the description box down below. But I first closed my high pressure or my liquid port valve, right? And once this was closed, I started closing this valve once I started dropping in pressure, and I closed the suction, the low side service valve. And there's our pressures. And we ain't going up anywhere. She's all in this coil. So now we're gonna go inside the house. We're gonna cut out the liquid and suction line at the evaporator coil so we can replace that internal condensate pan. Voila. And look at this awesome OSHA approved plywood. Wow. Okay. So here's that Rheem air handler. Here she is. Let's get the handy dandy drill flip. Didn't nail it really, but let's try that again. All right, whatever. I should get my knee pads. All right, I'm gonna spare you guys the aggravation of watching me take this apart screw by screw. Let's see what we got going on here. All right, so we have a cracked drain pan here. All right, I'm gonna cut back the insulation here, the armor flex. Probably gonna cut it right here. And then we'll slide out the coil once I cut the 3/4 condensate. Lovely. Okay, now for the 3/8. I'm going to use the swedging tool to avoid the use of couplings here. Yeah, we're going to be flowing nitrogen. Good stuff, good stuff. I don't know why they did it that way, but whatever. All right, let me get my PVC cutter to cut that. Definitely not clogged. Alright. I got a lot of water in that pan. Well, not that much water in the pan, but I gotta slide this bad boy out. Let's see. Why aren't you cooperating? Okay. me show you. Wow. That sucks. Well, I don't got any mold or mildew, just lots of rust. All right. All right, let's swap out the pan. The new one's right there. Wow. All right, let's get this coil into position. Before I reinstall it, I just want to dry fit it. Nice light coating with the Viper by Refrigeration Technologies. This is their pan and drain treatment chemical. At least giving it a nice fresh start, you know what I mean? All right, let's get the show on the road here. Now, there was a rear panel. Soaked. We are in. Okay. Perfect. There's the filter grill. Slid right in there. Beautiful. All right. I'm going to swedge this. I'm going to put my filter dryer here where the filter dryer is outside, I'm going to put a sight glass moisture detector. I just like moving filter dryers outside, from outside to inside, just protect it from the elements. It's a good habit. You guys should do it too. Oh yeah. Oh man, I used to be stronger. Beautiful. Okay. Nice, beautiful swedge right there. Okay, let me fit in the filter dryer. And do I need to put this on there? This is going on there. No, should be all right. Okay. Last thing you want to do is connect everything and then like, oh, the cover should have went on first. You know what I mean? There for depth, pretty sure. Yeah, we were all the way in. Good. Yeah. Let's get you back in there. Pull this up a little bit. Let's go flow some nitrogen. All right, keeping it real. Ran out of oxygen. And you can't use just acetylene alone unless you're using a B tank. So, using the B tank with the big ass turbo torch tip for that 7/8. I'm gonna switch to a smaller tip for the 3/8 with the filter dryer there. Yeah, it sucks. I have nitrogen flowing downstairs at the purge setting. All right, let's braze this. That was gonna happen. Oh man. I knew that was gonna happen. Damn it. See if that'll work. A little bit of a crimp on it. Plan B. Sometimes a little bit of brute force. I just manhandled the 7/8 from above, pushing it down. Should have done that from the get-go, but it looks like we're good there. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Not too hot either. Oh, what the? I took the wrong size. This is, oh man. I took the wrong size filter dryer. I'm an idiot. All right, got my filter dryer in. Just cutting the 3/8 coming from the outdoor unit. Okay, that's gonna go there, like that. Okay, let me get the smaller tip on the torch. Here we go. Sparky brazing rod. Take longer, a smaller tip. I just realized that my other side needs to be open on the condenser. See, if I don't I'm purging the nitrogen through my suction side. So now this nitrogen is going into the 7/8 up to the the evaporator and then back around. So I need to keep that open. Let's take the Schrader core out. Let's take the Schrader core out on my see? Nitrogen be flowing. Beautiful. So now the nitrogen is flowing through the evaporator, past my filter dryer, and then out through here. Otherwise, when I try to braze that last connection, it's going to push out. The nitrogen is going to force out the silver rod that I'm trying to make nice and tight. All right, while you were watching commercials, I was brazing in the side class moisture sensor. I brazed out that out of the service valve, cut there, and cut one piece of pipe to connect my moisture sensor side class right there.
I probably should have put some wet rag on it, but I didn't.
Let's crank up the pressure here a little bit. Just purge any crap that's out of there. Let's crank that up. Slow. All right, let's close that valve. Let's pressurize. And hopefully we got no leaks. All right, so let's close that off. Let's see what our wireless probes say. Really, that's it? Really? 50 PSI? Huh? Oh. Duh. Yeah. Looks like my tank is getting kind of empty. I don't think we have any leaks though. Probably should check upstairs. That would suck if I have a leak upstairs, because then I'll have to schlep the B tank back to the attic. Let's pray we don't. Yep, we do. Where is it? On that one joint that I made before I took out the Schrader core on the liquid side. That's nice and good. Right there. Well, at least I put the filter dryer in the right direction, right? All right. Hopefully I got it this time. Oh, don't you mess with me. All right, 84.6. I know that's nowhere near the pressure that I should be testing at, but I just want to see if it's going to drop. Let's give that a minute. All right, the vacuum pump is hooked up. I have my Eco Tools, the True Blue Plus evacuation kit, hooked up to the removed Schrader core valves, the Schrader core removal tools on both the liquid and the suction line. I have my Micron gauge hooked up. Let's plug her in and fire up. It is 9:27. And let me not make the same mistake I made last year around the same time. All right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. 10,000 and dropping. Here we go. While this is recovering, I'm going to put away the, while this is vacuuming down, I'm going to put away my evacuation equipment. Wow, I'm really messing up today. While the system is going into a deep vacuum, by the way, we're already at 800 and 750. So while the system is vacuuming down, I'm going to get rid of the recovery equipment, the recovery tank, the recovery machine, get rid of all any scrap that's out here. we're going to tie in our drain upstairs at the for the condensate and water test that. And let's see how deep we can make this. I'm in no rush. We're already at 350 microns and dropping. So it's 9:29. I did start at 7:30, so it's been about 2 hours so far. All right, I put together the condensate drain at the air handler. I'll show you that in a minute. I wanted to come down here, see what we're at. We're at 53.5 microns. Let's close these two off. And then just as I predicted, we shot up, and then we're going down again. So this will definitely pass a decay test. The valves are closed and they're still dropping. Well, I'm gonna keep letting this drop down, open them back up again, let it go into a deeper vacuum. I never closed the ballast. Wow. That's a very tight and dry system, by the way. And this is why you purge with nitrogen when you're brazing, and then you flush it out again, do a nitrogen test, make sure you have no leaks. This is an exceptional job we're doing right here. And guess what? We're not even gonna have to touch the refrigerant. I'm not even gonna hook up the gauges unless I suspect there's a problem. This is awesome. Let me start putting away some tools. We'll let this run for a little bit. Let me show you how I wired in a condensate cop, the condensate float switch sensor on the secondary drain tapping on the internal drain pan. And I put it in a new clear trap for the homeowner. All right, back at the outdoor unit. Let's close these two valves. We jumped up, we're jumping down. We're good. Let's dump the charge. Okay, let me pull my micron gauge off. And let's open up our valves. Doing the liquid side first. And then let's do the suction, low pressure. Make sure she's fully open. They make these things. I think you have to go forever with them. I miss the old school carriers. And I think the Lennox, where you had the king valves, where you could just close it with a tool in like a quarter turn. Not like this. Okay, let's put our service port caps back on. There's one, there's the other, and yes, I did burn the grass when I was brazing. It is what it is. So I know someone will be commenting on that. Okay, let me take off my vacuum hoses, put my Schrader cores back in, and fire up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 10:30 in the morning here. Took 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 3 hours to replace that internal condensate drain pan the right way, which is recovering the refrigerant, cutting the lines, pulling the evaporator. If it was filthy dirty, I would have brought it outside and used some chemical on the coil, but it was fairly clean. Pre-treated the pan with the Refrigeration Technologies Viper pan and drain treatment. Vacuumed down the system to like 10 microns. Yeah, we got it that low. If you're tired of getting bamboozled by your HVAC contractor and you live or work in the Long Island, New York City metropolitan area, I want you to pick up the phone and give me a call at 516-348-6300, or head on over to pipedoc.net and book your next service call with Pipe Doctor. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you on the next one. Be well, God bless, stay safe.